All right, let's head over to Marie Luby now, and she's at the Albany International Airport. Here comes the Air Force One.
Hi, Andy. I'm standing off camera here so you can get a better picture of Air Force One coming in. There it is. We were waiting for a few minutes for the plane to circle back around. It's amazing how quickly it got here given how bad the weather was this morning. It's like night and day. I mean, driving into work this morning, the roads were a mess. There were a number of cancellations and delays from flights coming into and out of Albany International because of the weather. But the president's plane took off as planned from Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland just after 11 o'clock. And as you can see, they're a little bit ahead of schedule here. And of course, the last time President Obama was here in Albany was in September 2009. When the president visited Hudson Valley Community College and gave a speech to a select group of students and dignitaries there. He talked about the importance of investing in technology, research, development, and education. Now, this visit is going to be more focused on GE's role, specifically the plant in Schenectady, the role it's going to play in job creation and clean energy. It's getting a little bit louder as Air Force One approaches. It's going to be circling around to the left here and stopping more in front of where our cameras are when the president will step off with dignitaries on board, including Senator Chuck Schumer, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. I hope you can still hear me over the noise of the plane. Congressman Tonko is also on board, along with Congressman Gibson. And Albany Mayor Jennings, I saw him standing by in the crowd on the ground here waiting to greet him. Of course, Mr. Obama will be getting into his motorcade and going to the GE plant in Schenectady, where he will be taking a tour and giving a speech. He will be greeted there by the CEO, Jeffrey Immelt. And of course, Schenectady is the birthplace of General Electric. Its origins date back to 1886 when Thomas Edison moved his work here. Now, the GE plant in Schenectady is home to the company's largest energy division, including steam turbines, which are used in generating electricity. The Schenectady plant is also the future home of GE's advanced battery manufacturing facility. You can see here the steps and the stand are approaching Air Force One, getting ready for the president's exit. As you will see live now, that expansion project at GE is a $100 million project which will employ 350 people when fully operational. Of course, job creation going to be one of the main talking points on the president's agenda today. GE's renewable energy headquarters there already employs more than 650 people. I also want to mention, before we were down here on the tarmac this morning, I had the opportunity to go up to the observation room on the 3rd floor inside Albany International Airport, and there were probably about a dozen people or so, some of whom got there at 9 o'clock this morning. They parked in the parking garage, which was legal for them to do. Police said they really didn't want anyone in this area who didn't have official business. But, of course, there are going to be some people who are curious, who want to be part of this excitement. You can see now some police, military personnel stepping off the back of the plane. If Dave, our cameraman, I don't know if you can see from here, but there are some dignitaries stepping off from the back of the plane. From this distance, it's a little difficult for me to make out who is who. We can try to zoom in a little bit there and get a shot. We're waiting. It looks like we've got some media stepping off the plane, probably some Secret Service. And towards the front of the plane, you see those steps reversing towards there to try to get into position to get everyone else off of the plane. Now, as I said, Mr. Obama will be touring the GE site with CEO Jeffrey Immelt. He will then give a speech on the importance of growing the economy and making the country more competitive by investing in jobs, innovation, and clean energy. Now we're starting to see the motorcade pulling up. We expect probably dozens of vehicles to be accompanying the president on this. We can see state police already leading the way in the front of this group, and now we're just waiting for the president to step off of Air Force One. We're surrounded by media. There's also a small group of friends and family, a small VIP section where there's maybe 24 people or so standing by off to our left here. We're positioned on a stand on the tarmac with the other media and trying to stay warm out here in the cold. It's definitely been a cold one this morning. And it's just amazing how they were able to clear the tarmac here, because this was just covered in inches of snow this morning when we got here. Actually, our live truck couldn't pull right in right away because of all the snow. We had to wait for the plows to come through so we could get all of our equipment in here and then, of course, go through security sweeps. And when I was up in there's Mr. Obama stepping off the plane, coming down, followed by Senator Chuck Schumer, it looks like, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. It looks like Congressman Paul Tonko is behind Senator Gillibrand. Congressman Gibson also among the dignitaries, and there in the brown coat you see Schenectady Mayor Brian Stratton. They all accompanied the president on Air Force One, a massive, massive aircraft with 4,000 square feet of space. They even have a medical suite on the plane if there's an illness. It's just amazing, all the space on that plane. It's as tall as a 4 or 5 story building. You can see the president coming down, shaking hands with everyone. He'll be getting into his motorcade here in a moment and departing to GE. We expect his speech to begin there around 1:05. The Schenectady plant is a direct beneficiary of GE's power turbine deal with India, announced during the president's last trip last November. Public attendance at the event, of course, is by invitation only. There are people in the third floor observation room at the airport that I'm sure are doing their best to get pictures of this, but from the distance they're probably not seeing a whole lot. Here he is, Mr. Obama, coming over closer. It looks like he may be coming over to shake hands and wave with some of the friends and family over here in the VIP section. If we can, we'll try to get a shot so we can get a little bit closer for you. There he is saying hello. It looks like hopefully we can get a shot in there. He's leaning down, shaking hands with some of the younger people in the crowd. We understand there's some students, some families. We saw some military personnel, some soldiers in uniform. So it looks like he's stopping to say hello before he gets into his motorcade. Of course, the president is on a very tight schedule. We expect him to leave to go back to Washington, D.C. at 2 o'clock. But maybe, he has a few extra minutes to say hello because Air Force One was ahead of schedule this morning. So we expect traffic to be definitely a problem around here until 2 o'clock. The areas around the airport, the Northway, Albany Shaker to Route 7, if you've got anywhere to go in between there, especially now that the president's here with his motorcade leaving, there's going to be a number of delays and detours. If you have an appointment in this area, take caution. If you have to be there, give yourself plenty of extra time. The Albany County Undersheriff told us yesterday it could take you an extra hour, maybe even 2. That might sound like a stretch, but with all of the precautions that the Secret Service has to take for security, you really need to plan to give yourself extra time to get where you need to go. The people down here are just so excited to be part of this, to see the president in person. This is the first time I've had the experience to do it, and I can tell you, it's just not the same when you see it on TV. It's really something special to be here and see it. The president looks like he's getting ready to get into his motorcade here and head over to GE. Now, police couldn't disclose the exact route they will be taking. We expect, logic would tell us that they're going to be taking 90 west to 890. They can't tell us the exact route, of course, for security reasons, but it looks like the beginning of this is starting to pull out. And, of course, we will be following the motorcade over there. We've got a couple of crews at GE. And, Elisa, I'll toss it back to you where I'm sure you'll be waiting for the president to arrive.